preparing to share interesting facts about historical events, like Kwanzaa.
I have to admit, Kwanzaa is one of my favorite celebrations. Now, most people don't know the reasoning behind why Kwanzaa is celebrated.
That's true. Every year, I find friends and family members who have never heard of Kwanzaa. But did you know Kwanzaa is a celebration of African American family, culture, and heritage?
I have experienced that as well. That is where, like today, I tell people that the celebration was started by Dr. Maulana Karenga in 1966.
Correct. An interesting fact about Kwanzaa is that it was initially meant to be a replacement for Christmas for Africans, but became an additional holiday to be recognized and celebrated.
Unlike Christmas, which is celebrated annually on December 25th, Kwanzaa has its own time frame.
Taking time out to celebrate Kwanzaa is done each year from December 26th to January 1st. During those 7 days, each day represents a particular value.
Of course, if you know me, then you know I love to celebrate. And the festivities from Kwanzaa include things like poetry readings, African drums, dancing, storytelling, food, and participants dressing up in African fashions.
Previously, we mentioned that over the 7 days, there are principles that are celebrated on each day. Those 7 principles include Umoja, which stands for unity and is celebrated on day 1. Kujichagulia represents self-determination, celebrated on day 2. Ujima represents collective work and responsibility, which is celebrated on day 3. Ujamaa, which means cooperative economics and is celebrated on day 4. Nia means purpose, and we celebrate on day 5. Kumba stands for creativity and is celebrated on day 6. And on day 7, the last day, we celebrate Imani, which means faith.
Now, when looking at the traditions that take place on each day of Kwanzaa, not only does each day have a meaning, but there are 7 primary symbols that represent Kwanzaa. Symbols for Kwanzaa include the unity cup, candle holder, 7 candles, fruits, nuts, and vegetables, ears of corn, gifts, and a mat to set everything on.
Now, when looking at the symbols, Kwanzaa candles play a big part. On each day of Kwanzaa, a candle that represents one of the 7 core values is lit. While the candle burns, a particular principle is acknowledged and discussed.
Also, with the candles, you just can't pick any candle. The candles for Kwanzaa have specific colors. The colors are black, red, and green. But the first thing most people ask about the celebration is where the name Kwanzaa comes from.
I get that all the time as well. The name Kwanzaa is actually Swahili. When looking at the language, Swahili is considered one of the most unifying languages across the continent of Africa. Millions of Africans speak Swahili, and that is where the name came from.
Another interesting part about the Kwanzaa celebration is all about fashion. When celebrating Kwanzaa from December 26th through January 1st, African clothing is worn throughout the holiday.
When looking at the last day of Kwanzaa, it is all about the food. That is where a large feast with traditional African cuisines take place and the entire community comes together.
And there you have it, sharing interesting facts about holiday celebrations that take place around the world with Kwanzaa.
Power to the people, power to the people.